Boston University into the chapel in the underneath Marsh Chapel, the smaller chapel. 10 of us would get placebos, and 10 of us would get a substance called psilocybin.
Excuse me, are you the dean of the Marsh Chapel?
The dean of the Marsh Chapel.
It says reserved for the dean of the Marsh Chapel. That must be you.
You're right.
Do you remember Timothy Leary test with the Harvard, with the Andover Newton students here?
I don't remember it. I wasn't here then, but that was 64.
Where did that happen?
The little chapel downstairs.
Could you show me where that happened?
We're on our way inside Marsh Chapel, where the original Miracle of Good Friday test took place.
Tim Leary was a very respected member of the psych faculty at Harvard at that time. I mean, he wasn't a nut. Later in his life, he was dubbed sort of a nut and a screwball. But at that time, he was a highly respected member of the psych faculty, and the society hadn't gone bananas over looking for any hallucinogens or anything like that. As a matter of fact, it was really very considerably more respectable than, for instance, getting drunk.
What has changed here? You were going to talk.
Well, the two important things is there were fixed pews, so you see them on the side, but they were fixed along the sides here. See, there was no space to move around. This is the thing that keeps surprising me, that they had no space to move around or go into gyrations or what we normally associate with ecstatic or orgiastic kinds of religious experiences.
The service began. It was a 3-hour, I think it was a 3-hour Good Friday service. And the first thing I noticed was that I felt flushed, and I suspected my face was getting red, and I felt kind of warm all over. Well, of course, I thought I had gotten the psilocybin. And I later found out that others who'd gotten placebos felt the same thing. But before long, it was clear that we did not, because of the behavior of some of our fellow students, in which they would, some just very quiet, others would rise from the pews. I remember one went up to the altar, stared very carefully at the cross on the altar. There was, as I recall, there was no outburst in terms of verbal outburst. It was pretty clear that some of the fellows had what I thought was what they thought was a very profound spiritual experience, almost indeed a mystical experience. In the follow-up that was done a few years ago, when I think almost, not all, but almost all of the persons who were in the Miracle of Good Friday, who received the psilocybin, or believed they received the psilocybin, reported that this was a profound experience in their life, not just that day, but they look back upon that as a very profound experience.
Do you think you'd be willing to try it again? Do you think they experiment again with your students?
No, I don't think so. No. I don't think if I, as president of Andover Newton, if someone came and wanted to do that today, I would say no.
You were saying that you could never allow something like the Timothy Leary experiment to happen again here now at the U, right?
It's not even a question. It's not a matter of allowing. We don't have any Timothy Learys here, and people who are smoking pot are not talking to chaplains anyhow, and that's sort of sad on both sides, but that we don't have a Timothy Leary and that we don't have people smoking pot are simply doing it to get stoned. They're not doing it to get spiritual. So there's none of that. That dialogue is no longer alive and well. Hey, good luck.
Thanks.
See you later.
See you later.
Let me know how it comes.
What do you think about LSD? Are you really doing a documentary on LSD?
Yeah.
space control, and when you're playing in your bedroom, it is a spaceship. And when you're on LSD, whatever you're doing is your spaceship.
See, LSD came to Tim's house through Michael Hollingshead. Tim took LSD and he didn't talk for weeks. And I instructed our entire research group to keep away from that LSD. Because we lost Tim.
Even though LSD is now illegal, there are still traces of it at Harvard University. It can be found here, inside Harvard's Peabody Museum. Upstairs, among their famous glass flower collection, is a replica of the ergo fungi, the main ingredient for LSD.
The favorite pastimes of the hippies, besides taking drugs, are demonstrations and partying, seminars, and groups of discussions. They take many trips, and the trip of the hippies is generally an unusual one.
Not only the aspect of the social, like the government wanting to maintain social control, but also that the LSD that's out there today is so polluted with speed, and there's a big difference between the drugs that children are taking today, or youth are taking today, which are all ego enhancers, as opposed to drugs which are ego dissolvers.
Basically, it opens you up right to the center of the soul, and I don't think that's really what our current government in particular is really after.
Early on, the CIA is using it as a weapon. Later, people are saying this is to see God. Not only is it to see God, but if you gave it to the right group of leaders, there'll be peace on earth. If you give it to the President of the United States, the head of Russia, Israel, Egypt, whatever, everybody would just lie down like lambs. They get almost intoxicated with this potential for power, potential for control. The CIA did with LSD. And would have to be concerned when they can look at charts and say, gee, you have a spike in LSD and usage in marijuana smoking in these certain towns, and they're the towns with strong SDS chapters, or that's where a lot of political activity is taking place. I mean, there was a relationship between the two.
The policeman has stepped over the demonstrators.
The anti-war movement had its start with the free speech movement in Berkeley. In 1964, they took over a building at the University of California in Berkeley, and the governor responded by sending in the National Guard.
So, of course, we sat down in the door there. Oh, and by the way...
One of the leaders of this student revolt was Michael Rossman, who today lives in Berkeley, California. I traveled there to see if he felt drugs helped or hurt the protest movement.
Waste your batteries already.
How's it going, Michael?
Come on, waste your batteries already.
Good to see you.
Let's see, you said 3 provocative things that I have passed me. Now, you make a lot of assumptions. You lead with your assumptions. But let me ask you, how do I know that you're not an agent provocateur? Okay? How do I know that I should trust you? How do I know that you're not an agent of the above ground or below ground government?